Walk up in the life. Yeah, I'm really him. Talking my shit like I'm really him. Hold up.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Diamond Duos podcast. My name is Zach Gaming Dad 25. As always, this is my co-host Josh 2K.
What's up, everybody?
And today we got another special guest for you guys. We've been trying to organize this one literally since we started doing guests. This is one of the guys we want to get on here, and we finally have it, man. One of the OGs in the 2K podcasting game, in the 2K community in general. My boy, AllThatJaz. What's up? Say what's up to everybody.
What's good, man? OGs in the podcast games are gassing it a little bit. There's like three of them.
The 2K podcast game.
There's like three. Do you know what I mean? What's the competition?
That's fair.
That's facts.
All right, so he's the
You guys picking it up.
He's the originator.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. Most people don't know that I actually started the podcast in like 21, and we had like a different lineup. And there's like some of the people from back in the day that kind of came over to watch the new ones, but we used it back in the day. It weren't very good. Josh was like 12.
I picked it up last year, and I don't know if I ever told you the story about how I used to call you in my mind AllThatJaz.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Really?
Yeah.
And because I'm in this group chat on Twitter, you know Cam Mooney?
Yeah.
He has a little group chat where we just talk 2K and shit. And everybody was talking about you, and I'd never heard of you. And then finally, I just says, "Oh yeah, I was gonna go hop in his podcast, AllThatJaz," and they started laughing. Like I was like, what the fuck is so funny? Like I'm confused.
You can't have heard me speak. You know what I mean?
Then I heard you. Then I listen to the podcast. So I was like, yeah, he's definitely not from Atlanta.
Nah. Cam used to come into my streams with that shit all the time. Like it became a meme.
Oh, you became a meme, and you never even knew it. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's rough.
All right. You watched quite a few episodes of the pod, so you know what we start off with.
Yeah.
This one's going to be this or that. It's going to be a little different than the other ones, though.
Okay.
So we're going to give you two players, one from this year, one from last year, and you got to make your choice between those two.
Okay. Let's go.
I figure because we're getting to the time of the year where I'm seeing cards, I'm like, wait, we had that card last year already. So I figured this would be a good one.
All right. Yeah.
So
let's do it.
We'll start with Pink Diamond Hakeem from last year versus this year.
He was glitched last year, right?
Yep, he had like 95 3 ball, but from what I hear, this one's a little bit more dominant in the paint this year.
I'm gonna say last year because the game was better.
Yeah.
Facts.
I don't think they're that different. But
I'm not gonna fight you on that one.
Yeah, I reckon whatever I was doing with that glitched Hakeem was more fun than what people are doing with this.
I said he was better than Kareem. I loved that Hakeem last year.
No.
I never had him.
No.
No, I never had him.
The Kareem? The Pioneers Kareem?
Because here's the thing, I'm not very good at shooting. So with that Kareem, I couldn't even hit a quarter three.
Oh.
That
was the best 63 ball you'll ever see, man.
As dominant as he was in the paint, on the boards, on defense, David Robinson was like okay in those areas, and I could hit every single jump shot with him. So,
nah, bro. The Kareem, the Diamond Kareem from this year is just as shit, man. Like, yeah, they're...
Oh yeah, I love him this year, and I could actually hit shots with him this year.
I haven't tried to shoot with him. I need to, but all right. The next one.
I'm never getting that Hakeem as well, by the way. That's the other thing. Like the Hakeem from last year, I had that Hakeem. I feel like I got it for free at some point. I don't know how. Maybe I pulled it.
At some point, he was
code.
like, yeah,
probably on
at some point
250K weekend for the qualifiers. I think he was one of the
maybe.
codes. You might have got him then. I missed it. I was livid.
Dang, Josh just got in his bag on that one. Just pulled that little bit of information.
Hey, look, man, I played a lot of 2K last year, all right? Up until the bans happened.
Yeah.
All right. This year's Diamond Kareem versus last year's Pink Diamond Kareem.
I think they're the same card. Like, I think they feel exactly the same. I'm going to say the Pink Diamond for the same reason. I was just enjoying the game more at the time. Like, I do like this Kareem. I think he's still the best center in the game. I think he's still better than D-Rob because that D-Rob cannot get aboard. So I would still run... I'd still think this Kareem is the best center in the game, but I'd also say that last year. Pioneers.
All right, no doubt. So Diamond D-Rob from this year or the first Pink Diamond D-Rob from last year?
What was the pink diamond D-Rob from last year?
Was the fireworks, I believe, with Steph Curry.
So right around New Year's, I think.
It was Opal Steph Curry came out, and then Pink
Yeah,
Diamond
I vaguely
D-Rob and
remember it.
Pink Diamond, was it Paolo?
Yeah,
I think.
so.
Yeah, I would say D-Rob this year. Like D-Robs have always been good, right, in the game. Like the level 40 D-Rob to me was the best D-Rob we've had ever.
God, I need that card back in my life.
Yeah, that guy, bro. I got roasted by Ty and DBG in 2 separate videos for saying that card was game defining. They both did videos on the fact that I said that card was game defining just to roast me. It was rough at the end of that year.
The level 40s
But
that year were insane.
yeah, they're relevant. Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, I don't know. This year probably. I think considering where the meta is, like this year's one.
Okay, no doubt. So that was this or that. I decided to switch it up a little bit because that's. Oh no, we got one more. Oh shit,
All right.
my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Josh.
All right, level 40 Pink Diamond Jimmy versus the Opal Jimmy Butler from the trophy case last year.
Opal Jimmy.
Opal Jimmy.
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
That jumper, bro. At the time, the lean back. Do you remember the lean back he had on that jumper?
And the jumper was so cash, but I hated that jumper.
Bro, he was
I just
just wide open in the corner all the time, like all the time. Yeah, he was different, and the fact that he was an Opal, like, because most people went for Jimmy or AD, right? Like first season, like,
Yeah.
he was so overpowered. Like,
I kind of wish I went AD, but I did go Jimmy.
yeah,
But at the same time, I think Jimmy gave you better players along the way, in my opinion.
yeah. I switched. I remember because I started with Jimmy, and then I switched to AD, so I went West. And then it just became a mess trying to clear it up to get to
Yeah,
get to the
I'm
end
glad
of it.
I was so close to trying to go for AD second, but I was like, no, I want Dr. J. And
Yeah.
then that was my best card I had last year. Because once Dark Matter started coming out, I was pretty much done last year. So Dr. J was the best card I owned last year, probably. So it was
Yeah,
for
he was
sure
good.
worth it.
I
He was
never
good.
got Jimmy last year. I was upset. I never.
Jimmy was good, man. Like I said, considering people got him in season 1, right? Like season 1.
Yeah,
I think so.
I got him. I missed one game mode season 1, so I got him like at the very beginning of season 2.
Yeah, you think of this Pink Diamond, Jimmy? You know, it's coming out in season 3. It's not close, is it? Really? Like,
Yeah.
he was running the game.
And his stats, he's a pink diamond, but he's not like a Kobe pink diamond. But we'll get.
He
to
ain't
that
gonna
a little
finish
bit
the
later.
season as the best shooting guard, is he? Like,
All right.
Didn't start
So-
the season with his best shooting guard, probably.
yeah, you can argue that. Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's get into some of the season 3 talk. First, I'd like to say I'd like to give myself my flowers. I called both of the rewards. Just saying.
All right.
The 2K is a little bit too predictable, and I called the Kobe Christmas thing. Called it. 2K is too predictable. But then let's start from the beginning. Are we doing any grinding for Hakeem?
I'll let
Nope.
you guys go. No?
No. I'm like, what's the point? Honestly, 1,000 games? Are you joking? Like, are you serious? I can't say it with a straight face. 1,000 games, 1,000 wins.
The way I see it, I load up the game like once a week. When I do load up, I told myself I'm gonna play just unlimited this season.
Yeah.
So
That's the best way to
if
get
by
it.
some crazy miracle I do get it by playing unlimited once a week, then that'd be cool. But
There's
I'm not
no
gonna
way.
sit here and I'm not gonna
Unless
sit
you're
here
playing
and
12 hours
and
that day,
pull
there's no way.
my fictional hair out trying to do it.
No, I don't even know if he runs over Kareem. Like, on the defensive end, he might be a bit better, but I'm way more chick with Kareem than Hakeem's jumper. There's no point. There's literally no point. And D-Rob dropped. I think most people play this game will prefer D-Rob over Hakeem as well. Like, our concept's cooked already. Like, 1,000 games is crazy. It's just crazy.
They could cut that.
And then what do you
in half.
guys think about Karlo doing his best gaming dad impersonation, trying to get some farming done, trying to get some farming
I
done
don't
on
think
Twitter?
he was farming. I think he was 100% serious.
I hope he wasn't. I
was
really hope he
100%
wasn't.
serious. He meant everything he said. And, I don't understand what he's saying, but I can almost kind of understand what he's saying. Because
What do you think he's saying?
what I think he's saying is the triple threat co-op offline should be more wins than the online. which I can agree
Yeah.
with. 1,000 is insane, but I think that the co-op, there's an offline and an online co-op. They shouldn't be the same win total. I agree with that. But Unlimited, he said that he has the first real one. I could load up Unlimited and just AFK the entire game, and eventually I'll get them as long as I don't get kicked out of the games. So
It was the pettiest tweet ever, man. It was the pettiest tweet.
I would see his point, but still not agree.
Yeah.
If they didn't put out exactly how many wins you need per game mode at the very beginning of the season,
It shouldn't have been
I would see his point. Yeah, I would see his point, but I still wouldn't agree. But I'd see the point. But the fact that they told us all how many games in which game mode, just because he chose the dumb path.
No, I think that's the
doesn't make the
smartest
other-
path
like-
because you can still make progress losing your way up. Like, you don't have to be good at the game to get it through Unlimited. It's gonna suck.
Yeah, but
You're gonna have to
you
put a lot
also
of
don't
time
gotta be
into
good
it.
at the game to win co-op offline either. You can just have a good friend.
I mean, are they having the right conversation, bro? Like, it's a conversation like which of these terrible things is the best way to get this card? Like, 100 wins is enough, right? What do you think is reasonable? Like, 100 wins? 200 wins?
I
Because
think
100
250.
triple threat offline wasn't 100 triple threat offline. No, yeah, last year was 250 for the game modes, right? For triple threat
I think-
offline.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
And I did that like 3 seasons. And that was a very reasonable why I was able to do that and it not be everything I did that season. Because there was like 3 seasons where I did that, unlimited, triple threat online, every game mode, pretty much.
It should have been like 10,000 points in Unlimited, like a couple of hundred
I
triple
think
threat offline wins. Like, it just 1,000. As soon as they 1,000, bro. You remember back in the day when people were grinding for Terry and Ferry?
yeah.
Like, people were losing their damn minds because they had to play 1,000 games, right? Like, that was the worst thing. Like, people were complaining. Probably some of the worst complaints they've ever seen. And then they took that concept and made it a thing. Like,
I misinterpreted.
now you
At
just got to
first-
play 1,000 games.
When they announced it, I didn't hate it. I was like, you got to make a choice. You either get KG or Hakeem, unless you're insane. But then I sat there and played a couple of triple threat offline games. And I was like, yeah, no, this is bullshit. I'm not gonna sit here and do this 1,000 times back to back to back to back.
I completely
no
misinterpreted.
matter how you break it down in your head, if you're like, oh, I'll do 50 a day. No matter how you break it down, no, I'm
It's
not
a
doing
lot.
this shit.
It's a lot. I originally thought they meant basically complete any game mode you get him. I thought KG.
That's what I thought it'd be.
I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
KG
that's what it
was
seemed
after
like.
Hakeem. Like, if you're going for KG, you're gonna
Yeah.
get Hakeem. That's the way I read it, and I thought it was a really fire concept because I was like, I can complete one of the game modes, but
I tweeted that out the day before. I literally said, it looks like Hakeem is like you complete a game mode and you get him. And like, what game mode are you going to complete? And then I remember just seeing it the next day. I just laughed.
couldn't
That was
believe
it. That was my reaction. I just laughed. I was like,
I
they
saw
can't be
1,000
serious.
wins. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
I'm
'cause
at
2K
97,
can't give
and
us
I'm
good
like,
things.
am I still able to get them? Because
I've been a grinder in this game, right? Level 40s, whatever. Like, I've been that guy. We've just gassed it to the point where I just look at it and go, not a chance. Like, what time am I giving up to do that? Like time with my family, time at work. Like, where does that time come from to win 1,000 games?
It gets to the point where, because I'm already like exhausted. I got a 2-month-old baby here, so it's like I get home from work and like half the time I'm like, I'm not even turning that shit on over there. I'm not even doing it. And like with the Thanksgiving stuff, 2K actually gave me like a boost of energy. Like, oh, let me go grind this free diamond player. Let me go,
Yeah, that
do
was
some
cool.
offline. Yeah, it was cool. For a weekend, I was like, I wanted to get my ass off the couch and come play 2K. There's not much competition. I'm not doing much over there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but it's like, I don't know, so far season 3 I've played like 3 times. I'm
I'm not gassing it at all. I've played about 2.5 hours this season.
Oh man.
That's what I'm at. Because there's no point starting anything. For me
Yeah,
right
that's
now,
true.
there is no point starting anything. Like, DBG said something in a video a couple of weeks ago. He said, my team this year is either for the rich or the unemployed, right?
Yep.
If you're both, I'm wealthy, right? I own a business. I'm doing fine. Out of those two options, I've got one. So that's where I'm at. I need to accept that. I'll wait a couple of weeks. I'll wait for whatever those cards are that are going to drop that are going to be better than these cards. Like we already saw it with D-Rob and Hakeem, right? I just wait it out, and then if I want to buy them, I'll buy them. If I don't, I don't. But I'm getting less inclined to buy them now as well. So I'm stalling. It's the first time really in like 4 years where I've just stalled with my team. I don't know if I turn the game on, what am I doing?
This year the turnover on these cards is so fast.
Yeah.
Like in previous years, like last year, like people shit on the trophy case. The trophy case gave me a reason to not feel like I needed to pull packs. The first pink diamond cards they had in packs were what, like Vince Carter.
Yeah.
And cards that like I was like, Vince Carter's cool, but I don't need him over Rip Hamilton. Like, or when I got Jimmy Butler, and now it's like they're dropping packs twice a week for these big sets. Every 2 weeks we get a huge set. That's going to be the next best card. This Shaq, Giannis, LeBron, Kobe. They started with Amethyst, Devin Booker. Like these best cards in the game. But it's like people are starting to realize we're getting the best card in the game once a week, almost.
Well, they started off so well with the pacing. That was the craziest thing. Like we had this like period that just feels like a dream at this point, which was like 3 to 4 weeks, right, where we had really good pacing. The patches hadn't come in on the gameplay yet. Like it was, I would say the first sort of few weeks of my team this year is actually probably the most I've enjoyed my team, period. Like I was getting consistent with content. I was putting out videos every single day, right? Like doing the unlimited weekends. It was just, there was so much about it that was good. And then the gameplay patches kicked in. And what the gameplay patches did, and I think this just hasn't been said enough, is the gameplay patches made the OP cards relevant. Right? Like, I was cooking with Emerald James Harden. When that patch kicked in, suddenly the backdoor meta kicked in, all of that stuff. Now you needed Shaq, right? Now you were going to struggle. Because what I was doing with that Harden, I couldn't do anymore, right? The kind of server lag kicked in as well. So a lot of the underpowered cards we were using suddenly weren't as effective. So the patch kicked in, and then the pacing just went off a cliff, right? Which kind of led to the 60 Hoffs, the 60 Hoff LeBrons we had. We got on the floor now a couple of weeks ago. Like, where'd you go from there? Like, we went from like almost a perfectly balanced pacing and gameplay to whatever this is now.
Because even when they dropped Shaq, it was like Shaq was the best card in the game, the most dominant card in the game, but he had a big flaw, and it was one overpowered card. They dropped Steph. Steph is overpowered, but like not like in a game-breaking way. Just like he's gonna hit every fucking shot kind of way. And then they went down the list. Then they got to the next really overpowered card. I would say was probably Giannis. And then from there, it's just all been downhill.
Yeah, but like I said, it's the gameplay that changed everything, right? Like when I got Devin Booker, right? Like I grinded out the MT for Devin Booker. Mm-hmm. I made a video on it. Like I was untouchable. I was getting open every possession. Like shooting comfortably, right? The shooting was easy, the dribbling was easy, there was no lag. We had like the way I played the game hadn't been nerfed into oblivion yet. So the way I played the game, that Shaq didn't offer an advantage. Like it just didn't. Okay, you can get a 2 on every possession, but a 3 was coming back the other way, right? Like
yeah.
But like I said, I could do well with emeralds and sapphires. That sapphire Steph Curry. Was a good enough card in the right hands to beat someone who had the best squad in the game. But as soon as that patch hit, that went out the window.
Yeah, I think that patch, I was super optimistic about it, and that let me down so bad.
Yeah.
But back to the Karlo thing, we kind of shifted away from that a little bit. So Josh, you truly believe that he feels that way, or you don't think he's just trying to get attention?
No. I think he 100% feels that way.
I feel like it's so blasphemous, like some Stephen A. Smith takes. Like I just feel like he's just trying to make a take just to make a take. I don't think. No, do I think he truly believes that? A small piece of him. I think when it happened, a small piece of him was like, "Well, that's kind of bullshit." That he only had to play like half as many games as I did. But then he was like, wait, I can run with this. Like, I can make this. And then he got way more mad about than he actually was. That's what I feel like happened.
It could be. I think that once he saw how much attention he got from it, he had to double down. He couldn't back down. So, I mean, but I think when he said it, he meant it.
You guys are trying to answer a question people have been asking for years, man. Which is Karlo real, bro? Is he real? Or is he a character, bro? Like this can't be real.
I don't know.
What threw me away is I didn't know who Karlo was until 250K last year.
Right.
And so I don't know. I've never been in one of his streams. I've watched like a small handful of his videos. And everybody, when he was in 250K, was just talking about how great of a guy this is. This is like, if somebody was going to come take our place in the 250K tournament, we're happy it's Karlo. What a great guy. What a rags to riches story. We used to take turns blowing him out in Unlimited. You know, like, so in my mind, I was like, oh, this Karlo guy seems like an okay guy. And then the first thing I actually see of him, like actually seeing like him as a person, is this. And I'm like, oh, shit. Like,
so you know what? So no one hates this game more than Karlo, right? Like, no one hates the game more than Karlo. So any shot he can take, he will take. I think there's elements of it that are real. I definitely think there's a character element to what he does as well. Mm-hmm. So I think both things are true to an extent. He definitely feels that way, but I think he plays the role. You know what I mean? He's got his.
He knows how to play the game.
Yeah, he's like a heel, like a wrestling heel. You know what I mean? In the community now, that's where he is. But
like you guys said, the perfect mic drop was the first real.
That was so petty, bro. I was fuming at DFS as well for not like the one time he did post first in the world. I was like, it would have been perfect.
It would have.
I got a question for you guys about this. Do you think anyone cares anymore about first in the world to anything? You can buy level 40 now.
Maybe
yeah,
on
level 40
like
doesn't mean shit.
Or KG.
And like no, when I see like someone get KG like day 2, I was kind of like, that's impressive. Wasn't enough for me to even follow the account, if I'm being honest. Like it doesn't hold that same stigma. Mm-hmm. I would say even last year, who was the guy that just kept doing it over and over?
Mini Coach.
Mini Coach, and then the
Manny.
level 40 was Manny.
Yeah.
Right. I saw that and I was like, damn, that's impressive. But I gave them both the follow because I was like, damn, that's something that I don't grind that hard. But then with this year, it's just kind of just like KG. I look at you. If you got KG already, I just look at you like you're crazy. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's it. Because it's so unreasonable, isn't it? Now, like back in the day, it was like a flex, right? Because you had the race as well, right? You had different people. You had like the money spent guys competing with JD, who was trying to do it like no money spent, and it became a thing, right? The streams were going on. Most trying to do it without an auction house. So all this kind of completionist stuff had like layers to it, right? That made it interesting. There's nothing interesting about it now. Like,
yeah,
I don't care if you're the first to something. You're right. I think it has more negative connotations because the thing that they're competing for is the tweet.
Literally touch grass. Like,
that's all you get. That's the entire response. You're competing to get told to touch grass by 500 people on the air.
Like there's this video floating around Twitter of some kid who's like shows how disgusting his room is. Like, yeah, I've been trying to like grind plat for Apex. All I do, like, it's like food containers all over the place and roaches. And I'm like, yeah, this is KG grind.
Nah, not for me, man. Not for me.
I couldn't imagine trying to be the first one to get it done because
first of all, that shit sounds stressful because I'm gonna be mad as hell if I grind nonstop for fucking 50 hours straight just for someone to post it 10 minutes before me. I'm gonna be pissed off.
Man, I was following that.
Or you can put a passive aggressive tweet up.
The mini coach and
the real first.
Last year for Larry Bird, mini coach versus Splash was like a movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because once they dropped the last trophy, the last centerpiece, everybody knew it's on.
But you see, there's layers in that as well, though, right? Because Splash was going to play in 250, and like, is the card going to be valid for that? So there's like storylines, there's arcs to this stuff. None of this exists anymore. It's just a couple of guys.
Last year there was more reason to play. Like,
you're not playing
because it's 250K.
Yeah,
you're not playing for shit this year.
You're playing for.
I mean, I was never playing for 250. Like,
I went to qualifiers every time with blind hopes because I'm not really that good at the game. But I was like, how dope would it be if I got into that tournament?
Nah, I just went in ready to go try and take out Splash every time.
I think it was the last qualifiers. The last qualifiers last year. I think I like 45 minutes into it, I'd won like 2 games. And I was like 5th on the leaderboard and then ran into like a pro and got annihilated. But I still got that screenshot.
I didn't screenshot it. I was top 10 at one point. The highest I ever finished was like 40, though.
That's good. That's higher than I've ever finished.
Hey,
Honestly.
I was flexing that like I just won 250. I told everybody, I was like, I'm the best player in the world.
No, I think the most I got last year was like 3 wins. And then I ran into somebody in the game froze. And the guy like messaged me. And I was like, dude, you can have it. Like, I know I'm not going to win this shit anyways. It's not that
Now,
serious
you gotta
for me.
hold out. Sometimes they'll pay you. Splash was paying people last year.
Yeah, when the 70% glitch was it a year before where he was literally like having to.
Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah,
it was
it
last
was.
year
Yeah.
or 2 years ago, but can you imagine if it was last year? Because he's paying people and then it gets banned from the tournament because of the MT thing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I do find it funny because people say, "Oh, there's no reason to play anymore. There's no 250." But come on, man. There's only like 4, maybe 5 people realistically that are ever going to win 250 on like a level playing field, no bans, right?
But I would say with this year, the only true reason to play the game is if you enjoy playing the game.
Yeah,
Which is like why when I load up, I'm like playing mostly park rec, because I don't enjoy playing my team that much.
yeah.
And that's the thing. People need to realize at the end of the day, it's a video game, and that's your reason to load up. Is to enjoy playing the game. Whether there's a lack of content or whatever, if you enjoy playing unlimited, you're gonna load up and play unlimited. You know, like so
It's always been
content's
that
gonna
for me. It's always been
and
that for me.
content's gonna give you a temporary fix.
Yeah.
You know, it'll make you get that little high for a couple of days, but the content can't permanently make you. They'd fucking be insane trying to drop content every day to keep people engaged.
It's what I said, right? Like the first few weeks, like I was enjoying the gameplay, right? I was literally playing like 2-3 hours of unlimited for fun, like on the daily. I haven't done that since like lockdown, right? Like because I was enjoying playing the game that much, and now I don't even play that much over a season. Like that's where it's got to. You're right. You have to enjoy playing the game, and there are people that enjoy playing this game, but I think there needs to be an understanding as well that there's been a certain style of playing this game that has just been patched completely out the game, and I think those people have got to make decisions now. I had an interaction with someone on Twitter the other day where they were just like, I can't remember what the word they used was, adapt, something like that. Like no, there's a way I enjoy playing this game, so I've got 2 choices.
And if are you talking about more so 3 hunting, right?
Yeah. ISO 3 hunting. It's been completely.
And that's the thing. I used to hate the idea of just like people hiding behind screens, but with 3 hunting, there's so many different ways to score. You know, you can, ISO 3 hunt, you can, run plays, you can, do off the dribble, you can do fades, you can do so much. I'd much rather combat that than somebody holding triangle all game.
And this is the first year I'm using screens, bro. I've never been that guy. If you ever watch me play this game, I will, ISO 101, like look for a crab and shoot. That's what I'll do. Like it's how I've been playing the game for years. But like it's been patched out the game. It started last year. Like this started with like the adrenaline, right? Like that's where it started, and just over time.
I was playing unlimited like 3 days ago. And I caught myself, it was like the 4th quarter, I was up like 3 or something. It was a close game.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I should just backdoor for easy bucket here. And I was like, no, what are you doing? Stop that.
It's so messed up because it's so overpowered. It's so broken. Like, they could have Diamond Giannis on you. You have Gold Victor sitting in the corner. You backdoor cut. You might get a bucket still. Like, it's brain dead. It's so easy and it's so hard to be like, no, I'm not going to do that. But it's like, that's all everybody wants to do.
People are talking skill gap, bro. This is why I'll take the filter off a little bit. This is the most brain dead game we've ever had. Ever. At every level, by the way. At every level. Like, the way to play this game, effectively, is to basically, put a playbook on, put play vision on, and just let the game play itself. So, the plays are playing out, you just got to run the play and get the shot off at the end of it. Like, that's the most effective offense, which is fine if that's how you enjoy playing the game. But let's not joke about the fact that the vast majority of people are either sending cuts and sitting corner on defense. And the funny thing about sitting corner on defense is what's the best counter to it? Sending a cut, right? So we're just in this this world. I'm going to tell you something quite funny. Someone tried to call me out the other day on Twitter. I just insta-blocked them. But I played them in clutch time. So I tried to have a go, like, last minute for Joe Johnson, like, 3 hours before it was expiring, because I'd only tried it once, I think. So I went on, like, a 10-0 run, I think, and then got bopped. But there was one game where this guy was literally sitting corner, right? Like, on defense. That's all he did for the entire game. And I think I shot 5 threes, scored 2, I think. But there was no reason not to cut him every possession. Like, he might as well put his controller down, just clicked onto the corner. But, you know, my Giannis was sitting there, so I'm gonna cut him every single time. Because it's effective, it's going to get me a bucket. I'm trying to get Joe Johnson. He calls me out on Twitter, and he's like, "Oh, Jazz, I just played you, and you backdoor cutted every possession." I've actually got, like, the stat line from that game. You know, I shot and made more threes than him, by the way. In that game, I'm happy to share this on Twitter if anyone wants to see it. But that's the mentality, right? Like, this guy thinks that's what I'm doing, when actually I'm taking advantage of what he's doing. The truth is, this is how the game is built to be played. That's where we are. Like, everything's built in. Like I said, what everyone's doing on offense, what everyone's doing on defense, is designed. It's the most effective way to do things. The CPU defense is so overpowered that, yeah, the best thing to do on defense, if you're not a good, you know, player, is to sit corner. Let the CPU play defense. Why have we built a game like this? People are saying this is a high skill gap. What are you talking about? What is it? Someone say it to me in a sentence. Like, what's the skill gap? It used to be getting open. It used to be beating your man. It used to be shooting deep threes. That's what skill gap used to be. What is it now?
Unless you're playing the on-ball defense, because on-ball defense is hard as shit this year.
I still play on ball, and I get cooked.
I do it. I try, and then I get fucking ISO'd by James Harden over and over and over again. I try, though. I try my best. I give it a good shot.
Lane steal's completely nerfed, man. My Paul George trying to catch a wide open lane steal, juggles the ball 4 times, drops it out of bounds. Like, what are we doing? Like, what's the skill gap, bro? Come on, tell me what it is. Tell me what it is, yeah. I don't know. What were we talking about, Karlo?
We'll move past Karlo. Did you guys know about the MT glitch before it got banned, patched?
I found out about it like 10 minutes after it got patched. And, you know, I said I was reformed. And 2K, if you're listening, I'm sorry. They didn't ban anyone.
Did you do it?
No. But had I known, I would have every card in the game.
Unbeatable Jacob made out like a fucking bandit.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have that much MT beforehand anyway. So go ahead, take what I had before that. Please. By all means,
the fact that, like, this isn't me being a hater, but, like, the fact that he was able to, like, get every card in the game and all they did was wipe his MT, that's insane.
Yeah, I don't want them to have done more because it's their mess up. They put it in the game, and if somebody who loads up, they don't have Twitter, they don't have anything, they see, oh, I can buy this card for 1,000. Maybe they're doing like a flash sale, because other games do that. They'll do like a flash sale, you get something for crazy cheap out of nowhere. They couldn't ban, I mean, they could ban people, but I think that would have been the wrong way about going.
No, yeah, if they would have banned people, that would have been really bad. I just think, would it have been like, do they think it would have just been too much work to go back and take the cards away? Is that why they didn't do that?
I don't think they should have done anything.
I think they fucked up, bro. That's what happened. Like, this isn't them people going to a third party site, right? Like, and buying things that are against terms of service. This was their mistake.
Yeah.
You could argue that there shouldn't have been any repercussions.
That's what I
all
was about
people
to say.
did is use
took advantage
a function
of a mechanic that's in the game. It's the same as backcutting.
Yeah, I guess I'm just thinking from like a selfish perspective, because now I gotta go see Unbeatable Jacob with Diamond Giannis and Shaq and LeBron, and that's not something I want to see.
I don't know, bro. Like, he lost like 500,000 MT, right? Like, I understand he's got like every card in the game, but long term that doesn't help him, right? So that's the first thing. The smart thing to do, and I don't know how many people did this, is to not lock in, right? Buy every card in the game, so you can sell every card in the game. But if he locked everything in, then he's not getting any MT back from what he did.
I wouldn't have had that much foresight. No way. I would have locked them all in, not thinking about it.
I've never seen a glitch that hasn't been punished, by the way. So even if I saw it, I would have stayed away from it.
The intrusive thoughts were creeping in. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh, I have 30,000. I could get rich real quick. Hold on.
I'm not gonna lie. I probably would have did it because I knew nobody was gonna get banned. I knew that wasn't gonna happen.
That is a very I don't know how I want to phrase it. I would never assume they won't ban you, even if it is their mess up. I think that last year showed me that they mean business. If it messes with their money, you are. There's always a chance. So I would.
I don't know, man. Like I said, it was their mistake. I think there's absolute grounds to say there should have been no repercussions at all.
But I did like the locker code they did.
Yeah, it was good.
That kind of made me feel better. Because like I said, as someone who was like, man, I missed it, and now they got the cards for free. I think it should have been both the cards, but beggars can't be choosers. You know, like
neither of those cards are really doing anything.
I like Kuzma. I think Kuzma might get a little bit of play on my bench somewhere.
Yeah.
Did you both take Kuz?
Yeah, I went with Kuzma.
Yeah, I took Kuz.
But I already have Kareem and then Wilt, so...
Yeah, exactly. I got Kareem and Wilt, so no real reason for me to get Rudy.
Yeah.
If he was glitched, maybe.
Oh, man.
But that Rudy can't do anything but play defense and rebound.
All right, getting further into season 3. We're getting. What are we thinking of the 25 days of Christmas they're doing when they're giving us bullshit leggings and shit?
Hey.
I guess I just gave my opinion already.
Yesterday they gave 2,500 VC.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
They haven't.
It's something.
I don't know, because I don't know what they could give us that we would really like. I mean, it's a really good idea, but there's nothing really that they could give us that they'd be willing to give us that's going to do anything for anybody. Like,
the best thing they gave me was the XP token because I didn't have any yet.
Yeah. I hit level 40 now, so I'm like, oh, please don't do any more XP token ones.
You hit level 40 already? How much have you been fucking playing?
I've streamed every day this month, so I've been playing.
Oh, yeah, true.
I've been playing.
Did you hit it in the park?
I hit it in my team.
Right.
But I got it from both. Because I've been... Right. This is the only season that I've actually been splitting it up and playing almost equal amount of both. So, and it's separate double XP tokens. You get them for both my career and my team. So I didn't play a single game that didn't have a double XP token running pretty much the entire season.
Right.
So it's like I don't know what they can give us. And I don't like that, this is definitely me nitpicking. But if they're going to do a locker code every day, I would prefer them to do one for my team, one for my career. Because I'd say, it's day 10. They haven't done one every day, even though they said they were going to. But we've had, I think, 2 my team ones so far. The rest are for cosmetics for my career that the my team enjoyers will never. Yeah,
and I'd say for the my career players, this might be a little bit cooler. Because, cosmetics actually somewhat matter. Like, I'm the guy that just wears Black Lives Matter gear every year because it's free. But, some of these guys out here... I mean, I support Black Lives Matter also. That's not the only reason. But,
jeez.
But, some of these guys... some of these guys actually care about, like, how their character looks. So, these cosmetic things might actually work for them. Like, I've been wearing the same Kobe armband since day 1 because it gives me a +1 on my mid-range jumper. So to me it doesn't matter, but I think that's kind of cooler on their end than for us. The 2,500 VC and the XP token I think is all we got.
Yeah, and the VC can't even get you a base pack. So
yeah,
I mean, it'd be nice if they, every couple days, here's the deluxe pack. It doesn't even have to be like the most recent pack. Just throw us a deluxe pack, something.
I'm a little bit out the loop. Is that the whole event? Is that the whole...
So far,
yes. They've been doing locker codes basically every day. I think they've done... It's day 10, so they wouldn't have dropped today's yet. I think they've done 6 or 7.
So
but this is the event. They just picked something random.
They haven't announced anything yet. I'm holding out hope that they're going to do something a little bit bigger like the week of Christmas. Because so far as all it is the what's it called, the anniversary cards in the level 40 and then the locker code. So they have to do something at least like the week of Christmas, considering what they did for Thanksgiving was like a great promo. Otherwise the game's gonna be cooked if Christmas is just Kobe.
Yeah, I mean, they did the BAM thing. Was it last year? I think it was last year.
Yeah, BAM, that was a fire promo.
I loved it. He wasn't a great card, but, I mean, it was something to do. You load up every day, you get a player, And if you do every single day, you get Bam. And if you're just starting out, like the Christmas noobs, you could have a somewhat usable team.
You think these Christmas noobs are gonna grind for Hakeem?
You never know. Maybe.
No. It depends.
Maybe.
I haven't really explored the My Team menus. Does it show like, oh, get 1,000 triple threat offline games for Hakeem? If it shows that somewhere, they might.
Let's see. I'm on the main menu right now. Let's see if they have anything.
Like if they're advertising how to get Hakeem, some of these fools might come do it.
No, they're advertising.
I reckon people will, man. They're gonna be sitting at home. All right, let's get. That'll be their first experience of My Team, man.
So this Hakeem card looks pretty good. Let's give it a go.
They'll play for 10 days straight, like 100 TT offline games a day. They'll get to the end of it and realize they got one player.
Hey, you get. Hold on. Wait a second. You get Amethyst David West.
Too.
Amethyst David West too. All right. So there's.
You got some MT along the way as well. I guess you could build
Yeah.
a better squad. Yeah.
I don't like that after 200 wins, there's no rewards until Hakeem. If you're gonna put something like that, you better put rewards along the way. Like at least every 10 games or something. After 200 wins, I'm pretty sure that's the last reward you get. Besides the door game at the end, and I want to say that is the best one yet. The door game is easily the best one. It's so rewarding. So rewarding. The ball drops always suck.
I was gonna say after doing the ball drop of like 150 MT over and over again last season, yeah, the door is way better.
Yeah.
They stuck some deluxe packs in there as well, didn't they? I think.
Yeah, I've only gotten like one or two when they're unsellable.
Yeah.
But they're there. I mean, I can't complain. They're there.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I love. Get rid of the vault, man. If it's not gonna open every game, get rid of the vault. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing with that?
It's so disrespectful, the vault. I've always said this.
Yeah, because you try and time it in your head. You're like, oh no, that's the amount of time that's gonna open. Nope.
Yeah.
This one's different this year. Last year there was almost like a queue where you could tell if it was gonna open before it actually did. This year it's like you're on the edge of your seat until it shuts in your face.
I mean, that's it. They've got a mechanic where a door slams shut in your face, bro.
Yep.
Like,
if that's not a metaphor for this game, I don't know what is.
I don't know how it's been in the game as long as it's been in there. It's such a terrible thing. Yeah. I miss the old TTO ball drops, man. I don't know when did you guys start playing My Team?
I started
When did I
in
start?
the very beginning. I didn't.
Yeah, so I started back when you could only build teams through VC packs. Well, so like the first years, but I've been very off and on for like I play a year, skip a year, pretty much.
Right. Yeah, I mean the old TTO ball drops, like in 20 specifically, man, you could farm MT playing that mode.
I'm pretty sure I played 20 because I got the there was like a Ruby Thon Maker who at the time Ruby was like a pretty high tier when he came out. He was OP as hell. That's how I found Ty Debo. I found out how to deep hash rim run with my Thon Maker.
What
Shout out to Ty for that video.
Before they update it is if you land in the same spot 3 times, you're getting that reward 3 times. Once they updated it, like, oh, you get 100 MT now. But like, if you got a player on your board before, like, I don't know what game it was. It was way back then. If you had a player on your board, if you hit that same spot 3 times, you're getting that player 3 times.
Bro, do you remember the like ball saved like the saves, bro?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
people used to say to me, "Oh, how'd you get every like reward in TTO?" It's like I play the game till he pops up, and then I'm guaranteed to get him after that. Like, yeah, we didn't know how good we had it.
When they dropped what was it? I think it was a Christmas Day promo where it was like 4 good pink diamonds and like Draymond.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, "Oh, that's fucked up." I was like, if you play any triple threat, you know at least how to not get the Draymond.
Yeah, I don't remember who I got last
that
year,
board.
but I think I got the best option. I think who was it? Maybe Lonzo.
Yeah, I got Lonzo. Yeah, I was going for Lonzo.
That's who I went for, and that's who I got. I was like, man.
It was either Lonzo or Dwight were the 2 best ones.
Actually, wasn't Dwight glitched?
Yeah,
that was what we were talking about earlier.
I got Dwight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was like, once you said Dwight, I was like, oh, that was the glitch one. That's who I got. I remember because he had just popped up also in the locker codes in the 250K thing. And at that point, I was actually still in it. I was like, oh, this is awesome. So I didn't get it, though, because I was still playing.
All right. What do you guys think about? I didn't even realize this till Josh brought it to my attention. The lack of the Ascension board on the level 40 this season.
I think it's a cool concept. I like the Ascension board. Granted, the grand prize is almost always trash.
But once you get to the top layer,
the MT,
the MT is insane.
Like, I like it. I thought that they were gonna do something along the lines of, maybe the premium pass get some more shit. But I mean, all you got was a couple of cards that were Evos. You got them already Evoed. Like, it wouldn't take me 2 triple that offline games to get my Sapphire Shack to Ruby Shack. I think that was kind of a wasted slot for them to have used. But I always loved the Ascension board. It's something to do. It's a stupid concept, but it's, I guess, I don't know, man. It's something. It's something. I like the players. I think it's a cool concept, but I think there should have been something also. Like, we'd get MT and stuff before, like MT, prize balls, Ascension boards. Like XP tokens.
And I feel like the players should have been on top of a regular level 40. Because now if you don't buy the premium pass, all you're getting is players all season.
Yeah.
That probably aren't going to play for you.
I think the players should have been an event as well, right? Like, we know, like, I'm assuming they know by now that when they do the daily player event, it hits every time, right? We had, was it the all-time cards towards the end of last year? We had Zero Gravity, right? We've just seen it so many times now. Like, they should have made those cards a bit better. They could have been more relevant, right? If they went proper back to that Zero Gravity mindset where we had, like, Sengun and Vinny and all those cards. Like, they have a real role to play in modes like Salary Cap now, right? So people would have been gassed for them. But they should have made the 25 players an event that we should be grinding for daily right now.
And that would have been similar to what they did last year.
Yeah. And then level 40 could have stayed the same.
Yeah.
Both really should have been the answer.
Because it's not like level 40 rewards are ever like insane.
Yeah.
I just think it's corny that, like, even with the premium pass, the only difference is you're getting a little bit of VC and MT along the way.
And it's not a lot of MT. I think it was more in the past. I think the highest you got was at like 37. You got 10K. I think at one point last season, you might have got 25K at that point or something like that.
And I even think it's even more corny that they're advertising, because the only reason I even bought the pass this year was because I wanted to give away on Twitter for it.
Yeah,
and I think it's even more corny that they're saying, like, oh, if you buy the $20 version, you get like 10K VC and 10K MT off rip.
I mean, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for Iverson and some VC. That's it.
Yeah.
I heard Iverson.
But Iverson is good.
I was going to say, I haven't used him, but I heard he's decent.
He's good.
Which
he's a lot of fun to use.
I'm actually surprised about that. Because it's hard.
Well, I liked Iverson last year. Even with the height meta, I liked his dunking and layup animations last year. Starting, I had this Opal card, whichever the Opal card was, the first one. And he was actually, I liked his jump shot, his dribble sigs. And besides the fact that he was so small on defense, offensively, I loved the card last year.
Yeah. I had, like, what I told you I went 10-0 the other day. Like, when I lost, I loaded up with kind of a mean team, I guess. Just put in some, like, players with sort of quick jumpers. Like, got rid of Giannis, got rid of like Wilt, and just ran some cards I wanted to run. And yeah, I was running AI, and honestly, it was the most fun card I used all day, I think. Outside of maybe Nick Young.
So, I want to get your opinion on this, Jazz.
Yeah.
Josh, you go after the tournament battles, the Evos. What do you think about those?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't really have an opinion on them, bro. I'll be honest with you. I think it's a cool concept. I can see people running that Jared and stuff. Like, it's fine. I don't think it's fine. I haven't engaged with it at all. Doesn't interest me, but I reckon there's people it does interest. Josh probably a better person to speak on this if you've done any of it. Have you guys done any of it?
I haven't, but I like the concept.
Yeah.
Because Benedict Mathurin as a diamond, great budget player. Vanderbilt, I don't know what they plan on doing, but logically he should go pink diamond, I think.
I saw somebody posted a screenshot from the notes from the playbook thing. He already has 5 Evos. They're maxing out at 5. Nobody's getting a 6, so either they're not doing an Evo or they're going to give it to somebody else.
Oh, so that's kind of trash then.
I think Vanderbilt and Benedict Mathurin both have 5. So they're either going to have to give it to somebody else or not do an Evo. But according to their schedule, there's supposed to be an update, I think, on the
Or
Evos.
maybe do like an exchange. If you have a fully maxed out Vanderbilt, there's an exchange for him maybe.
That'd be cool.
Because Vanderbilt played his ass off last night, guarding Tyrese Halliburton too. I don't know if you guys caught any of the game.
I didn't get to
But
see
this isn't the basketball podcast, so we're gonna skip that.
How hard are the Evos?
They're not.
I've-
they're okay.
I've heard some of them require blocks with like shorter players, but even in my experience, like playing triple threat offline, I got no issues like getting blocks with guys like James Harden, and the Harden's what like 6'4".
Yeah.
6'5".
So I don't see him being too hard. Like all you go is triple threat offline and give him the lane on the inbound and just trail him.
Yeah,
You know, but I've heard that's been the hardest part is the blocks.
I think Benedict Mathurin has blocks. I've been doing them just because I've been playing a bunch of triple threat offline. So Vanderbilt was easy. That's blocks and steals, but he's a defensive player. And then the higher you get, it becomes just threes and points. So that's easy. And
It's a good concept, isn't it? Like when it's things like that, like when you're grinding one thing and you can like mix in another grind, it's always good content. I think.
And the emeralds are fairly cheap, like 15k MT, I think it is.
they're cheap if you get the ones that Evo to diamonds. Like Jalen Duren for the Pistons, sorry Jacob, didn't get a single Evo because they didn't win a single game. So if you're paying 15k for
Well, that's
emerald,
just a skill issue.
Yeah, Pistons in the mud, bro.
I'm not paying 15k for an emerald that's gonna stay an emerald.
Yeah.
I don't like their concept that they just released where there's, I think they're challenge games where you play the 2 in-season tournament games and you have to have an entire lineup of in-season tournament players. If they would have given out enough players to do that, like for free, I would interact with it. But I'm not buying a 15k emerald so that I can get an in-season tournament court that was pretty ugly in the first place.
I like the in-season tournament courts.
I think they're hideous. At least some of them. Some of them are
I think
okay.
it's one of the issues, isn't it? We see this kind of like entry point to a lot of things, right? Like with MT or VC. It started with Dwayne Wade, right? That's where it started, where like people see Dwayne Wade as a free card, but he wasn't really.
But you have to buy the sapphires.
Yeah, and this feels like a kind of repeat of that. Like you can come out on top, right? For sure. Like I said, if you buy one of those emerald, either them to a diamond, that's great value. But they start adding in other stuff, and it's like, okay, well now I've got to buy 3 other cards to then engage in this piece of content. It just seems continuous, like that stuff to me.
Yeah, and like you said, D Wade was like where it started.
Yeah.
And who did we have on? Was that Mojo we had on the pod when the D Wade came out, Josh? I think it was Mojo.
I think so.
And the point he made was it's not the fact that was it 60k MT or whatever. He said it's just the precedent that it's setting.
Yeah, the principle.
That this is going to be a thing all year.
Yeah.
And they're advertising it as a grindable card, which technically you are grinding, but
Well, you got to grind for the MT first.
Yeah, grinding typically implies free.
Yeah.
At least in the 2K community.
I felt differently about D-Wade than a lot of people because, yeah, you're going to take a price hit, but I'm pretty sure you can sell back every single card once you do the challenge. So you don't have to lock it in.
Yeah, I think you probably lose.
But you're taking a 60% hit on every single card
after I graded everybody, I think I ended up short like 20k MT.
The thing is, bro, you got to generate the MT to begin with as well, though. And that's the thing. If you're starting from 0...
The only...
It's not 60k, by the way. It was like 75 to 80k is what you needed.
Oh, okay.
I think to get all the cards, it was over 100. But, like, you can do one at a time. That's the only thing I say is you can do one at a time, do his challenge, sell him back, and the games that you're playing with him, you're probably making the MT back. I'm not saying it's a good concept. It's not a grind.
It's not time efficient. Yeah.
It's not a grind. It's definitely something behind a paywall, but it's relatively easy if that makes sense. Like, you just got Diamond D-Wade for 20k. But the way they advertise it is not what you're actually getting. So that's the issue.
And it's also just not what we've got in previous years, is it? Like moments cards where you literally just get agendas and grind the card. Like, it is an
the 2K
unnecessary...
numbers are great, man. Those cards are awesome, man.
It's just an unnecessary is like stingy addition to what something that should be very simple, which is a free card.
Yeah, and it's just like at the end of the day, it's like someone like me, I barely did D-Wade. I did it during during the Thanksgiving event. That's when I did them, and it was easy. I was like, I'm doing all this offline play anyways. I might as well start doing like, and for me, I was like, okay, 80k MT, cool, I got it. Let's do it, boom. But that's for me, someone who like, you know, I played the game a decent amount season 2 and season 1. But someone who doesn't play that much, 80k MT is a lot of MT.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can be.
And
How much is 16 hours of domination? No. Did I get that right?
So 4,000
4 hours?
is 20 games.
No, it's 33.
There's 20 games.
33 games of domination. 4K apiece.
Oh, in total.
Yeah,
4K apiece.
to complete it.
How many hours
so-
is that?
To finish domination or to get
Probably
enough
about
MT to
16
get
or
D
Not
17.
Wade?
empty.
Enough MT, it's going to be 20 games, so about 10 hours.
Not worth it.
That's to engage in a free concept. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We got to be really careful here not to normalize this stuff.
Yeah, and
'cause I feel like
domination
the
is the
community's
most
getting
is the
there.
most efficient way to get MT. So when you put it like that,
And
like
XP.
10 hours.
Yeah.
And
We can't be normalizing that. That's not normal. I'd rather have just paid the 80k for D-Wade straight up. Make it a buyable card that's at a discount. Don't
Yeah,
make it
honestly.
a buyable card and a grind. Your dog's going nuts.
yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah, see, I thought
As soon
I
as you
thought
hit
that
record, they go crazy, man.
because I put these headphones on, and I can't hear shit behind me. I thought it was my dog. I was like, what the hell?
Hollow J comments
like, what
on
the-
them because the dogs always are doing something in every single podcast at some point. Sometimes they're going crazy,
All right.
sometimes they're chilling back there.
So last topic in season 3, the rewind content. I'll go first. I'll be very brief. It was bullshit. Your guys' turn.
All right, I want to go on this. When I first saw it, I thought we were getting, I don't know if you guys remember the Moments DeMar DeRozan, the Moments of the Month. That's what I thought we were getting. I should have known better than to think that, but that's when I saw season rewind content, and then they were releasing all these cards. I was like, okay, perfect. Maybe we're doing like a Moments of the Month. They're grindable. I like that they have equal chance packs, but I think that's kind of like a bare minimum. They had to do something, because none of these cards are that good that I'm going to pay full price to go get these cards. None of these cards are that good. And I kind of got screwed on every single one of my equal chance packs, so I'm starting to think that they're not as equal chance as they're saying.
I don't grind a game anymore. So it's wraps for me. Like I know it's like not the best take, but
Hey.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in grinding the game anymore.
So
anything
there
that falls in that
is
category, I'm not interested in.
there is an audience for it.
For sure.
Because Decentric said it himself in the last pod. He said, I don't give a fuck how they give them to us. I just want them to give us moments cards. He said, if I gotta pay for them, I'll pay for them. I don't care. So there is an audience for it. I just think it's stupid that they advertise moments cards as a staple in this season. And this is,
They dropped 4. It's not like they dropped a bunch. They dropped 4.
Wait, wasn't the whole set moments cards?
Well, they were
breakout
breakout. They're
cards.
breakout, which I guess are...
Yeah.
I look at 2K numbers is the only moments card. Breakout, I guess, can be considered moments cards, but...
I mean, they are, aren't they? The thing is, like, there's some really good cards in there, right? Like, there's some really, really good like budget cards in there. Like, DBG's going crazy for one CM skill, whatever his name is, and yeah, like a bunch of them. So I think there's a lot of fun to be had with the concept. I just don't know. It's not, yeah.
Did you guys see the DBG posted a breakdown of, let me pull it up. It was one of the cards. It was Jaime Jacques. How do you say that?
Jaime
Jacques
Jaquez.
compared to Kuzma.
Right.
And
What is that?
Look,
They're pretty
the stats,
identical.
they're very close. Like I see a bunch of like -1s, -2s, -5s. like it's very close. Like
That's good. That's really good.
And the lower card is better on defense. The only thing Kuzma really has on him is driving dunking and standing dunking, but you wouldn't notice the difference of them on the court. You really wouldn't, unless like maybe badges, probably.
Yeah, I like the look of that Caruso. That's the card that I would like, the breakout card. I think I would actually pick up and run. Yeah, I'm gonna have a look at him. But yeah, he looks pretty complete, to be honest.
And I just think the rewards were underwhelming. So it's like, for a set, if you're gonna make this a set, at least like make the reward cards like, top tier. Like Gobert, like we just got 2 centers better than Gobert last year, a free one and a paid one. Or last season, I mean.
No one's locking in for these cards besides collectors.
Yeah, Kuzma is cool and everything, but like I just fucking grinded my ass away for LeBron last season. Like, what do I want to do with this Kuzma?
I mean, like, it's good. It's good. It's like the fact that they gave it away is good. But yeah, as a set, there's not really much there.
But they only gave it away because they fucking gave it away to other people along with the million MT.
That almost sounded like a Karlo tweet the way you said that.
Oh man,
I really wanted this Caruso, but I'm not paying $42,000 for a Ruby. I really wanted that card.
Yeah, I like the Caruso. I probably will play a little bit like over the coming couple of weeks.
Maybe you'll get
Caruso always gets a dangerous card.
Yeah, he's got some clean animations. It looks like.
I did get the Sapphire Cam Reddish, and that card for his Sapphire is insane.
I think people need to give Cam Reddish his flowers as a Laker fan.
Oh, dude.
He's been hooping. He's been hooping this year.
Reddish. We're finally seeing the glimpses that my team told us he had.
He's diamond Cam Reddish from 2K20 right now. That's where he is.
When we signed Cam Reddish this year, everybody was like, "Oh, just be ready for either like the guy that's going to be gone in a year." I was like, worst case, we signed him to a vet minimum contract and he sits on the bench the whole year. Best case, we see a little bit of this potential.
My team's been telling me he could do this for years. They just didn't see potential.
LeBron vouched for him, so if LeBron vouched for him, you're good with me.
I legit, like, my first ever 12-0 in 20, I just ran deep hash with that diamond spotlights Cam Reddish for like the full 12 wins. That's all I did.
I don't remember what year I did 12-0, and I'm snitching on myself here. I was doing the overall glitch, because I don't know if you guys remember the overall glitch.
A lot of people did, bro.
You adjust the minutes, put bums on the end of your bench, adjust the minutes. And
Josh, say it ain't so, Josh.
I did it. Look, man, I'm
Cabrillo's gonna come for you. I'm just letting you know.
That's fine. He can do it. I think it was Pink Diamond Manu Ginobili was the first time I ever went 12-0. And I saw your tweet about, who was it that you got from playing
Mark Aguirre.
Yeah, Mark Aguirre. And that made me think of this Manu Ginobili story. Because at the time, I wasn't really on to like the YouTube videos. I wasn't on social media really. That Manu Ginobili, you couldn't convince me he wasn't elite. Because he had the best leaner ever. And I guarantee you, if I had been watching videos, Ty probably would have shit on him for hours. But I was doing leaners left and right, and it was the most fun I had ever had playing this game, because I was like, I just went 12-0 to get this card. He better do something.
Yeah. That tweet was quite poignant. Like, I genuinely had like a moment of realization when I tweeted that. It was a bit of a lecture, I know, but like I genuinely had a moment where I was like, for the last few years, I've been like sweating and grinding on the game, right? Like, it's just, I've never really had the time for it. Like, I'm quite a busy guy. I've got a lot of responsibilities. I've never really had the time to engage fully in this mode, but I have done, and part of it is, I guess, my relationship with 2K and try to keep in touch with everything, so I can feed back to them and let them know what's going on. So there was kind of a responsibility I put on myself definitely over the last year, that I needed to kind of keep up with things and experience things for myself. So if there are issues, I can feed back. And I think it made the game a little bit toxic for me. Like, I'm going to be 40 in like May, right? Like, I'm not a kid anymore, so I don't have that time. I don't have those after school hours, just to go.
He's looking at you, Josh.
I played a little too much lately. All right.
But yeah, I just realized, man, like where my the most fun really came from in this game, and it was back in the day, like when I knew less about it and just played domination or whatever over the years, it became 12-0. It became completing showdown. It became all of this stuff and keeping up with the game. You know what I mean? Rather than just playing the game and organically letting the game and the cards come to you, you're trying to keep up with everything. And when you try to keep up with everything, that's where not only you have less of a fun experience, but 2K continue to push the boundaries when they see what we're willing to keep up with, right? And that's where we end up with like a Hakeem being normalized, right? Like, that's not normal. Under any circumstances, not normal. So, yeah.
That's like you said, for me, my peak was, I forget what year it was. It might have been like 2K16. Like you said, there was not much like content. You played the game.
Yeah.
Like there was like a Diamond D Rose. Diamond was like the highest tier. He was like in the collections. I was using Silver Kobe. I was using Emerald DeMar DeRozan. I was using Gold Kurt Rambis. I was using like this throw together team. And me and my buddy were just going at it every day. We'd sit down. I'll play first quarter. You play second quarter. And we just had a ton of fun with no content. Someone could have easily told me, why are you running Kurt Rambis at power forward?
Yeah.
Because he's got 99 offensive rebound. That's what.
Yeah.
But like I got a team that fit. Like I was like, oh, this guy, has strengths here. I like him. DeMar DeRozan, I got gold posterizer on him. I'm just gonna dunk on everybody. And I wasn't worried about who the best cards were. I was worried about the cards I wanted and the cards I liked.
Yeah. And that, like the more you know, right? But it became a kind of collective more you know. Like I said, we get to a point where we're just pushing the boundaries now, because that's where we are. We're being tested now. Like, what are we going to put up with? Are we going to accept to get a free card in the game, we have to win 1,000 games? Are we going to accept to get, a good card in the game, we have to spend $200? Are we willing to accept those things? Like, we're going to find out now, right? I think we're reaching that tipping point with people where both directions are no longer viable. For me, I've always had that option. I always used to choose to grind. And when I didn't have the time to grind anymore, I was like, okay, I'll spend the money. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't want to spend this much money. I can, but I won't. So where does that leave me? What's my next choice? And actually where it's taken me, ironically, is to shut it all out. Because I know what I need to do to enjoy the game now. And that's actually forget all of that stuff. I know how much I would enjoy using that Kobe. If you've seen me play this game, you'll know how much I would enjoy using that Kobe. It would probably unlock the fun for me, like I said, for the first time this year. But I won't get him. I'll get who I get. And that's how I'm going to approach it. I'm genuinely at a point, like this is a debate I'm having, right? Because I got the game from 2K. And I have put some money into the game, right? I've got Giannis, a couple of the premium cards. I'm genuinely thinking of scrapping my account and going back to square one, starting a new account and playing it the way I used to play it, which is just to see what comes to me. Because then if I get, let's say that Anthony Davis grind, do you remember? I think it was win every game, win one game. Like, that's something I would have been excited about, right? Like, if I didn't have the squad, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's something I can get into. I've got Giannis, I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I get you.
The next card that comes along, I'll buy him too. So that content just doesn't register. And I almost want to play the game in a different way to see if that's how this game should be played. Because the people that have the most fun play the game that way.
Yeah.
Your Blasians, your DFSs, like, these guys never complaining, man. They're just having a good time.
That's facts. Like, as much as people shit on DFS a lot, like, he's just chilling. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why are you mad at me for being happy?
Because we're not allowed to be happy, man. You know this.
I think DBG's got it like more right than anyone else, I think, over the years. Like, people think that he's like memeing, right? He's like gassing up like a really shit card. He's not memeing. Like, this is genuinely like his enjoyment in the game. It's hilarious to me. Like, I troll him for it daily. I can't remember what card he said to me the other day.
I like when DBG has like a serious talk. Like, he just, like, you could tell it's just like let me just get real with you guys for a second. Because like when he has those conversations, I agree with everything he says. Yeah. Almost every single time. And I'm like, he's about to spit some facts. Like, and so when he does stuff like that, I don't pay attention when he talks about cards. I really don't. Like, when he talks about like, oh, this is gonna be the next, I'm like, dude, I'm not listening to this. I'm sorry.
It's his pet peeve. It's the one thing that triggers him. I probably shouldn't say this because people will start doing it, right? But it's the one thing that he said triggers him is when people say he's like lying about cards. Because he ain't.
So I'm not saying he doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
You don't feel that way.
I don't feel that way.
Bro, I have that conversation with him daily. Like, yeah.
No, but granted, I just gave him props, right? About like how the Kuzma and the Jaime Jacques, whatever his name is,
Yeah.
like that's a very valid comparison, especially for the gap in tiers.
Yeah.
That's valid as hell. But I don't look at every card like that.
Yeah. I think DBG is like that one. If you want to have fun on the game, if you actually want to enjoy the game, ironically, I don't think there's anyone who really enjoys this game. Actually, I might be gassing it a little bit, but I don't think DBG has enjoyed this game for a long time. But I think it's like Burnout, right? It's franchise fatigue, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, if you play the game year in, year out for like, what has he been doing? They even just doing content for like 10 years?
Yeah. So this is the only job he's really had.
Yeah.
But if you want to enjoy the game, play it his way. Like, that's how to enjoy the game. He just plays the mode he wants to play, gets the cards he wants to use.
I'll abuse DBG for views. I'm gonna make a series. play in 2K the DBG way. All right.
None of your cards better go above Ruby. I'm telling you that.
All right. So let's move past season 3. We're gonna transition to a different subject, but first, we got another game to play. This one is called The Secret Draft. I don't know if you caught this one. It's pretty much essentially me and Josh know the draft subject.
It's like a theme team, right? I got to guess what the theme is.
Team. Yeah, you gotta guess the theme. So me and Josh know we will go first, and then you gotta follow in suit as best as you can. Anybody who's watching, go ahead and close your eyes for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's gonna be our subject. I will go first.
Oh, man,
okay.
You will give yourself the first pick here. I'm not gonna lie.
This could be like, is this my team based?
My team based, yes. The specifically 2K24 cards.
Oh, can we do 2K22? No, I'm joking.
All right, okay, Josh.
How about they just you know, fine. Hold on. I gotta find cards for these people. Hold on. I gotta make
So
sure they have
you're
cards.
complaining. So you're complaining that I want to go first, but then you're not ready to go first.
The fact that he's having to search up cards doesn't bode well for.
How about they're just in my team? They're just in my team. They've been in the game before.
Okay.
right.
A card that's been in my team.
All
okay.
right, that'll be easier for him too because he has no idea what he's getting into.
All right, let's do this. What you got?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm going for okay.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna go with the new Diamond AI at my point guard.
All right. Now, I don't have a specific card in mind, so I'm gonna go with. Actually, I do. I'll go with Sapphire Lakers Karl Malone.
AI and Karl Malone? Is it Lude's Criminal Squad? I don't know if AI's got any charges. AI and Karl Malone. I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue. I'm going to do some research now.
All right.
AI and Karl Malone. Is it obvious? Do you think it's obvious?
I think after a couple more picks, it will be. I'm not going to be like, oh, they both played in Louisiana. No, I'm not going to do that to you.
I mean, Malone played for the Jazz. Iverson played for the Sixers. I haven't got a clue. I have not got a single clue. Do you want to go with some more cards and see if I can pick it up?
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I'll keep going. Okay, my small forward is going to be Ruby Lamar Odom.
All right, well then my point guard is going to be Amethyst Jason Kidd.
I don't know. Amethyst Jason Kidd. I don't have a clue. You've completely defeated me. I don't have a single clue.
All right, so shall we keep going then?
Yeah.
All right. At my 2, Pink Diamond Kobe.
At my 2, I'm going Ruby, Kevin Porter Jr.
Oh my god. I thought we were moving towards like an Olympic team or something. And you threw Kevin Porter Jr. into the mix.
So Kobe fell right into it. You were like, oh, hell yeah.
Oh, bro, we were right there. We were right there. Where did Kevin Porter Jr. come from?
So close.
Where did Kevin Porter Jr. come from? I haven't got a clue, guys. Yeah, you can round this out. I haven't got a clue.
At my 4, I'm going to go with Amethyst Dwight Howard.
Oh, man. Hold on. I got to find a card for this next player. All right. Apparently he has one from the legendary path. I'm going with Emerald Derek Coleman at my 5.
Jeez.
All right. And then lastly, at my 5, I am going with gold, Big Perk, Kendrick Perkins, baby.
So I got a small forward left. Let me make sure this guy fits the theme.
The fact that you guys are having to look things up.
Well, I'm not looking anything up. I did my research last night.
With Decentric, you came through with Muggsy Bogues, like.
Alright, you know what? I'm gonna say it. I'm going with the Diamond Meta World Peace.
Oh, all right. So you gotta make a guess, Jazz, before we reveal it.
I have no idea. Unless it's like a college or something, but my knowledge ain't that deep.
All right. So you give up?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, you guessed it at the very beginning. These are all players that were accused of crimes.
Is it actually the criminal squad?
Yep. The criminal squad.
I thought I gave it away.
Oh my god, Jason Kidd's DUI.
I said before we started, I was like, I should have hit up Ludes.
Yeah.
And I hoped you didn't pick up on it when I said it. Because I did not do the research beforehand. That's on me.
I tried to be unobvious. You know, AI had this situation in high school. I don't know if you guys know about that, where he beat up on some white kids. Yeah,
you should have gone more recent, bro. If you'd started with Giddy and John Morant, you should have.
That would have been too obvious. I was gonna say Giddy and Karl Malone. I was gonna have the dynamic duo going, but
it was Kevin Porter Jr. that threw me. What's his deal?
He's out now.
Recently beat his wife.
He's out of the league right now for domestic abuse.
Oh yeah, he is.
And I went recent with Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
I almost picked up Giddy, but then I was like, I already got Jason Kidd. I already got I don't even remember. So I was like, I had Kevin Porter Jr.
He can't have Giddy on the team because he has Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
Did someone say Kobe? Who said Kobe?
I said Kobe.
He's not convicted of anything, bro.
I said
accused.
That's allegations. That's allegations.
I was gonna say John Morant, but what he did wasn't illegal. It was just frowned upon.
Yeah, stupid.
All right, let's move on to the second half of this podcast. Jazz, I wanted to talk a little bit about you.
All right.
Let's give Josh a second. Hold on. He's probably about to go hit his dog or something.
They're kicking off.
Oh man, this is like the first podcast I've recorded since we started without a 40 right here.
My bad.
No, you're good. All right. So Jazz, I want to talk a little bit about you. We're very familiar with you, but I've always wondered, when did you start making content?
When did I start making content? Like lockdown.
Lockdown.
Yeah, lockdown. I started on like 2K20, I want to say. I made content pretty consistently through like 2K20, 21. Then I kind of like lost my love for the game a little bit. Between 21 and sort of 22, I came back to like the end of 22. Started making, like, that was probably the most consistent run I had for like sort of 6 months. I made videos daily.
And then you said when you used to do the podcast, you had a whole different cast. Anybody I would know on there?
So the original podcast was Killer Josh and a guy called Notorious God, who was like he was like a pro at the time, so he played in like the global championships, things like that. He was from New Zealand, so it was us three that kind of started it up. But we were quite lucky because we got some like really kind of big guests like straight away, because we did one podcast, and then we got young Simba on, who was pretty big at the time. Then we got Spacewood Bird. I'm sure you know who he is. He was like he was our second guest, and then I think I think Most was our third guest, and then DBG was the fourth.
Oh, so you guys were winning.
Yeah, we got
Came
DBG
out
because he owed someone a favor for letting him use their account, and he was like a friend of ours, so he got DBG on, and it's quite funny because me and DBG are like really good friends now. You know, we've met several times, we speak every week. He's stayed at my house. Like we know each other really well, but it really started from there. Like it started from this guy kind of blackmailing him to come on the podcast.
Hey, win's a win.
The American dream.
Yeah. You guys have like got off to a way kind of cleaner, more natural start than we did. We were awkward as fuck, dude, at the start.
Well, I think I was blessed with Josh. Take your headphones off because I don't want you to get big headed.
Oh, no,
like me and Josh just had like a natural chemistry. You would have never known that we had never spoken to each other on the first episode. You would have never known.
Yeah, the first episode was
Really?
the first time we had ever talked. Besides, like,
you can
DMs.
tell.
Besides DMs.
Oh, all right.
All right. Cat's out of the bag.
No, you
Come on. No, but
the thing is, like, we were kind of like starstruck at the time. That's how I describe it. Like, we were fine with each other, but when we brought in that guest, we were like really awkward, man.
Mm-hmm. That is one thing
and
that
also,
I feel like is getting easier now because I'm more used to doing it. I think it helped us a lot because our first guest was Mojo, and me and Mojo are pretty close.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it was
exactly.
really
I know
easy.
Mojo. Like we go back.
It was really easy to go into it. Like, I'd say I think the only person that we've had on that I haven't like had interaction with was Decentric last week.
Yeah, same.
That's the only
I'd
person
never
I had
talked to
never talked
Decentric
to really
through
before that.
DMs or anything until
He's
last
such
week.
a nice guy as well. So
Yeah.
easy
Oh,
to
yeah,
talk
he's
to,
cool
so it's
as
an easy
hell.
one. Yeah, that's an easy one.
So it was that's the only person that like I've messaged with you before. I've talked to you on Twitter, like AW, BMC, Jay made my logo, Mojo, like everybody like that we've had on, we've had like a relationship with them going into it. So it was like easy and natural. It wasn't uncomfortable. We haven't had anybody really on that like I don't know how this is gonna go.
Yeah. Yet.
So at some point
So
we're gonna
I
have
can turn
to...
this into one. So derail it.
All right.
I mean, me
we're
and Gamer
doing
Dad, you know,
this.
we played Among Us like last year. You know, I went back and I was watching one of your streams, one of the Among Us streams earlier today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it was that stream where you said that the word that broke me for like 1 minute. But he's not the imposter, and he's just getting railed, and he's like trying to speak. People just voted him out.
Wait,
And-
what was I saying?
Yeah, as soon as you got voted out, you said the sentence, "I'll just go fuck myself then, shall I?" I died. Bro, it was just so, like, because he was trying to talk. No one was letting him talk. They were just voting him out.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was a good time. It was the same one where IJ Josh said, someone asked him where he was, and he's like, "I'm in an electrical," and I was like, "That's enough for me," and he just gets voted out.
The Among Us streams were crazy, man.
Right.
I feel
Yeah,
so
we're gonna
bad for
play
Killer
tonight.
Josh. I feel so bad for him.
I
He
don't.
gets ganged up on.
I'm pretty sure the hole in the wall is actually from me killing
it
him
was
as him
about
so many
2K.
times.
All right. So what was I saying? So we kind of got into it a little bit about how the Our Team podcast started.
Yeah.
How did the revamp? What was the thought process there? I know you brought Killer Josh back, but you had a cast on there, man, with Matt Mojo, Ludes, Unbeatable Jacob eventually became like an actual cast member, but he was there almost
just before
every
it dropped.
episode anyways.
Yeah.
So what was the thought process like? What was it like when you talked to these guys about it? How did those conversations go about re-ramping the podcast and bringing it back? Because your second go around went crazy. It was like the inspiration for us, honestly.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So when I brought it back, so Notorious God's just moved on, right? He's into like crypto and stuff now, so he's just left 2K, like the scene. I would have loved to have brought him back because we had a chemistry, like the three of us, that was, you know, pretty unique. Like, if you haven't watched it, like the old podcast is still up, go watch it. It's quite funny. Like, Notorious God would just go at Josh. Like, he would just wind him up for 2 hours every episode. It was good stuff. But obviously we came back. Ludes. So I remember when we did the podcast the first time round, Ludes always wanted to come on the podcast, and it was like a running joke that we just kind of hadn't got him on yet. So we got him on, I think for the first episode, and it, like, the chemistry was just there. It was like really obvious that he was that third person, right? So we had a conversation with him. He had a great time. It's difficult, right? Because you're doing it now. Like, the way I used to do it with the hard edits and stuff, it was really time consuming, took a lot of time, and it took a lot of planning as well. Especially when you're working with like the bigger creators, they could be a bit dramatic, you know what I mean? Like, mix things up a bit last second, go a bit Hollywood if they're splash. So it can be tricky. So it can be time consuming. So when we stopped it the first time, it was really down to that. Like, I just didn't have the time anymore. We kind of come out of lockdown and moving on with life. But life got to a point where I was like, I think I can do this, you know, week to week. So initially it was like, we're just going to do maybe one a month. That was kind of the plan. But it kind of got momentum. And it was a few episodes on, I guess, when Mojo came on. And we got off, and me, Josh, and Ludes were doing kind of a debrief call on the podcast before I started the editing. And we just kind of all said the same thing at the same time, which was like, did you guys just get a really good vibe off Matt? Like, should he come in? Should he be that guy? We all agreed. We spoke to Matt. Matt was up for it. I think Matt was struggling a little bit because he'll give up his time, and he really wanted to do it, but, you know, he's got responsibilities, and I think there was always a difficulty there. I was starting to struggle again with work, so it felt inevitable that it would kind of stop. Then we brought Jacob in, and really, like, Jacob was a formality. He put on my favorite tweet of last year where he put, I don't know if you saw it, but he's like, when you're watching the Our Team podcast and you're not on it, and it was like a picture of this guy just staring at a picture of some girls. It's really funny. So we brought him in. I think the idea was maybe if we have 5, then we can mix it up a little bit more. Like, people can take a week off or whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, we didn't really know what was going to happen with Mojo moving forward. I know he was really struggling to kind of commit to it, but he was doing it. He was like sacrificing himself a little bit for it, which is not what you want. And I was starting to feel that way as well. You know, I was starting to feel pretty burnt out, pretty drained. We'd done it, you know, whatever, 13 weeks in a row. But I think the podcast always concludes for the same reason, is we stop enjoying the game. I think when the game doesn't provide the content anymore, that's when it kind of fizzles out. And last time it really started to fizzle from the kind of, was it season 5, season 6, when it became fully RNG, Mike Bantam. There was just no content. I guess it came back alive again in season 7, which, you know, I pushed quite hard for internally. A lot of calls I had with 2K led to that season 7, which I'm quite proud of. But I think the fact that we actually stopped making the podcast because the game was dead was actually quite a big deal. You know?
Yeah, because you said they were watching the podcast every week in the studio.
Yeah, so, I mean, they watched it. Like I said, it's how I became a NextMaker, is them, like 2K themselves watching the podcast, which is really cool. You know, it's the thing.
And then I have one question about the podcast.
Yeah,
a specific episode.
All right.
I forget what the argument was about, but you guys were on Josh because Josh was going to bat for something.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm getting PTSD from it.
Tim Duncan, wasn't it?
No.
So
I know exactly what it was.
But my question was,
it's the most heated we ever got.
Because I never watched the podcast on the premiere.
Yeah.
Because I work outdoors by myself, so I save all my podcasts for during the week.
Yeah.
So I would always listen to the podcast on Monday.
Okay.
And I see, like, everybody on Twitter, like, I think you came out and said, like, you know, we talked to Josh and, you know, we got everything squared away. There was, you know, no hard feelings between anybody. And then Josh came out and said, like, you know, I apologize for the way I behaved on the podcast. I went a little overboard and blah. So in my mind, I was like, I gotta watch this now. I was like, what,
that's why we did it. It was just clickbait.
I was like, I kind of feel like it was, because when I watched it, it just felt like, you know, 5 friends going at it and being passionate about something. So like, was that, I'm not going to say PR, but was that to like try and cover Josh from other people's perspectives? Or like in your mind, do you really feel like he went too hard?
So it's, the podcast is a podcast, right? You get the kind of premiere, and you know it's usually a pretty good vibe in there. There's a lot of negativity that's in there that the mods do a really good job of like clapping pretty quickly when it comes through, and comments as well, like on the YouTube. And that particular episode, Josh was getting a lot of heat and like some, you know, DMs and stuff as well, going like, that wasn't fun to listen to or fun to watch. Like that was the feedback we were getting. You're right. Like me and Josh are like that. We've had like genuine arguments like over the years. You know, I speak to the guy regularly. Of course, you know, like any friendship, you two will have the same situation where you'll disagree on shit and you know, it'll go sideways. But that episode, I remember what it was about. It was about Limited and the fact that I played 26.
The raids, because that's when they made it the whole week. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think the problem was it kind of derailed that podcast, right, for like 20, 25 minutes. And we had a bunch of like quite cool stuff. We had guests on. There was things we wanted to talk about, and it kind of stalled a little bit. But really, you're right. Like, it wasn't that deep. But we had a conversation where we were like, we need to protect you because people were being pretty direct
at first
about
I
the fact
thought
they
he
didn't
was
like
kind of
it.
just playing devil's advocate, because it's no fun when I say, oh, how do you feel about rewind content? It sucked. Okay, next subject. You know, that's no fun. And I think that's what he was kind of doing at first, but then he just like Carlo's doing now, like going too hard, hammering the point. But yeah, I was just
he just wouldn't let it go. I remember he just wouldn't let it go. Like, I don't know. It happens to all of us. Like, that moment with Josh has happened to all of us at times, right? Where we're so triggered by something, because that's what happened. He became triggered, and then he started triggering other people. And we've been there before with him. A lot of time we laugh it off. I do it as well. I wind him up. You've played Among Us with us. You've seen me wind him up. But that day it got a little bit tricky. Like I said, there's guests on as well, right? Like, we don't want to be making it about us and, you know, me and him going back and forth. And the chat was really getting on him. I don't know if you read the live chat that, you know, went with it, but they were really like, you know, not happy. And at the end of the day, like with the podcast, you just want to make it good to listen to. Like, people want to be enjoying that. And, you know, the thought of someone just walking down, like, you know, whatever, in the gym with the headphones on, and me and him are screaming at each other about something that doesn't really matter, and we could move on, move past in probably 30 seconds. Yeah. It's just not good content.
It can be, though. People love drama. People love drama.
Yeah.
And I mean, look.
There's a tipping point, right?
You made me click on earlier, so I didn't have anything to listen to come Monday morning because I listened to it on Sunday.
No, it wasn't a big deal. Like, it wasn't a big deal. Like, with us, it wasn't a big deal. We just put the message out there, like I said, just to protect him, really.
Yeah,
and any backlash he might get.
That's kind of what I thought. I thought it was more so for him. Because when you're around someone so much, you know, you could yell at somebody, yell in their face, and then there will be no animosity 30 minutes later. So
yeah. Me and Josh, like, when we first started doing the podcast, like back in the day, he was obviously a lot younger, like even like in terms of how he's grown. Mm-hmm. So we used to have more issues, I would say, back then. We don't have any issues. Like the last run on the podcast, it was just fun working with the guy, man. He's a lot of fun to work with, like a lot of fun to work with.
Oh no, he's just cool as hell in general. Just from
I met him obviously as well for the first time.
Yeah, that was dope. That was like goals when I saw that.
Yeah, it was really cool, man. Yeah, I got a lot of love for Josh, man. It might be the last time we worked together. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So, some of the things you did, you know, for the community in general, not even talking about just like the charity tournaments. I just feel like you gave the community a home with the podcast, right? The 2K devs were watching. Someone like me who was like very fresh in the 2K community, because I used to do 2K videos back in the day, but I was nowhere near the My Team community. You know, comp players, casuals, offline, online, everybody kind of had a space to come together and hear differing opinions from everybody. Like, I know you don't miss the game, but I know you have to miss that, man.
I do. It's tricky, right? Because you get to a point where you're like, right, okay, I'm enjoying something, but I also got to protect myself, right? And protect the other things that I have in my life. And like I said, I have a business. I have, a lot of employees and things like that. So when I start getting burnt out, it's not only me that it affects, it's other people as well, right? So I'm quite responsible. And sometimes I'm responsible a little bit too late. Things get a bit rough before I kind of make those decisions. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. The people that came on the podcast, like every single one of them was just like fun to have on the podcast. They all offered, unique perspectives and different viewpoints on the game. Was it always fun? No. There's definitely times where like being really honest, because I did, create an open platform. And there was times, where people were just saying things that I just didn't agree with for 2 hours, but you give them the platform to do that. And at the end of it, you understand that it's content and you're making a podcast and, you've invited someone on. So you've got to be respectful to give them that platform.
We could say names.
We can, but we won't.
You're trying to get him in trouble. This is what he does. He does this every week, all right? He's trying to get somebody in trouble. It's usually himself.
No. And it's not like personal stuff, right? It's not like a personal issue with someone. It's just like I said, sometimes I sat there for a while and I was getting bored of the content a little bit, and sometimes I guess Josh would jump in. And we do a lot of stuff on the fly as well, right? Like, I might send him a message on Twitter. I reckon you guys have done that a couple of times already in this podcast.
No, we haven't.
No. But I'd send a message saying, it's getting a bit dry, or, this person's dominating a little bit too much. Let's balance it out a little bit. So as much as it was fun and like a lot of work went into it, you know what I mean, to get that product at the end of it. And it took most of my weekend, from the prep to everything else. Like, we had quite fast-paced content. Like, I really like the vibe on this podcast, because we are literally just vibing. Mm-hmm. But with that podcast, it was, we had to hit our markers. We had 5 minutes for this, 10 minutes for that, 5 minutes for this, and that ran all the way through.
Especially because if you have 5 people, everybody's on time schedules. Yeah, everybody has to get their points in. And you don't want to be here for 4 hours. Yeah,
exactly. And it was getting to that point.
I love the longer ones. Pause. I love the longer episodes of the podcast.
Someone's going to clip that.
All right. The longer episodes, there were some that were almost... Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there were some that were approaching 3 hours, I feel like.
Yeah, there was, Yeah, there was. It was draining, man. I used to get I can feel I'm not going to get it here because it, like I said, it's a very laid back atmosphere. Mm-hmm. But I used to get that post podcast burnout where I just kind of sit there for 20 minutes just trying to get my shit together before I could do anything else. Because like I said, orchestrating people like that, because that's what you're not the conductor, right? That's how I always looked at it. Like you're just trying to make sure everyone's in play, everyone's being heard. You've got to sometimes stop people. Like I said, there's been the most difficult podcast we've had is when one person's just dominating. Mm-hmm. And it becomes really awkward because you're trying to stop that happening because other people have given up their time to be there. And, obviously the people watching don't only want to hear from one person as well. But how do you deal with that? You don't halfway through a podcast stand around and go, hey, you're chatting too much, shut up. So you have to be creative. And it's quite stressful. It got quite stressful at times, definitely. So I miss it. It was good. I think it was a great thing for community, but I don't miss the work.
So as far as doing the podcast, for the most part, not to sound like shitting on your co-host, but you ran the show, right? You did the scheduling, you did the editing, you did the scripts, or you did all that for the most part.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot. I can understand getting burnt out on that.
And getting the guests on as well, that was the other thing. So not to kind of remove them completely. So from time to time, Lude started doing it a little bit more towards the end. We'd maybe build the content a little bit together. Me and him definitely done that more than once. Done it a couple of times with Josh, but most of the time it was just me building the content, booking the guests, booking the schedules. If a guest dropped off, I'd have to replace them, figure it all out last minute, things like that. So it was really me. I would have loved to have been them, but it was also my channel, so I had to put in the work.
Yeah, so that's why me and Josh, we got a good thing going. I do the editing. He, for the most part, gets the guests scheduled. We work on the script during the week together. We got it on the iPhone now, so we used to screenshot it and send it to each other, but now we got it set up so we could do one note and we could both adjust it. So it's kind of at least on my end, it doesn't feel like either one of us is getting overworked.
Yeah. And like I said, this whole vibe is just way better. Like, keep it this way. Like, keep it this way. Because if you move to where we were, like I said, the kind of quick cut stuff, it becomes draining. Like, it's a good listen. Obviously, if you're like there for info and like multiple takes and as much information and stuff as possible, then do that. But like, this is an easy listen, right? Like, this is the kind of thing I would listen to. I would listen to this over what we were doing, probably, because I feel like if I listen to my own podcast, if I ever listen to the Altoon podcast, I'd have to keep rewinding it because I miss stuff. Like, I can't. It was overly stimulating at times.
Yeah, I get you. All right, so NextMaker, you said you got it. They were watching the podcast in the studio, and they felt like you guys were doing some good things over there. But the next program last year, at least from the outside looking in, was going through it. Quite a few people. I think I saw 2 people from the 2K community leave altogether. I think Blasian Ricks got kicked out, I believe, for buying MT. No,
not Blasian. Someone else.
Who was it?
So this is a tricky one. Okay,
yeah,
I don't want to do
you don't
like
have to say who got kicked
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
But did that happen? Someone got kicked out for buying MT.
But whoever did it posted it on Twitter though. So
Yeah, but
it's not
it's not his subject to talk on. I understand where he's coming from. He's got relationships with all these people. I don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, obviously NDAs are NDAs as well, so I'm not really allowed to talk about a huge amount. But
Okay.
people were the ban situation. This is what I will say. Okay, the ban situation. There was definitely like consequences, right, for everyone, including NextMakers, for that situation. And people left over it, like, you know, the consequences. It just wasn't a good time. And actually, I would say before the bans even happened, the NextMaker program wasn't in a very good place. And it's kind of one of there's a lot of misinformation, right? Like, when you're on the inside, you kind of know how things are. You're not speculating anymore, right? And there's a lot of misinformation surrounding how NextMakers was versus how it is, right? Mm-hmm. I've seen videos recently where people are like, I was in NextMakers 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and it was, you know, really shit, and they weren't listened to, and all of that stuff. And yeah, that's kind of what it was like when I joined, you know, a year ago. It wasn't a great program. It wasn't really doing anything, and I think the people in it were pretty heavily devalued. So I think there was already a kind of undercurrent of like dissension with NextMakers. And then the bans happened, and then I think it just kind of combusted on both sides a little bit. I think, you know, some people were ready to go already, and then that was just the catalyst for that, regardless of who made decisions. Mm-hmm. But then after that, the NextMaker program became a better program. You know, I was having meetings with them, in some instances like one-on-one calls with them to talk to them about the challenges with my team. They were also seeking that stuff out, so it wasn't just like me chasing them going, hey, can you fix this, can you do this? They were making a conscious effort, and really that stuff led to season 7. Like, if you look at season 7, I had a call with them maybe 4 or 5 weeks before that, where everything that happened in season 7 I requested, like, you know, the daily grinds. I spoke about the buyable cards, you know, because we had Paul George before and it was getting silly. There was a whole bunch of things that we spoke about. And actually, it's funny because this may be breaking NDA a little bit, but they pushed back on one thing specifically that they ended up doing. Like, they black and white said, that's never going to happen. And then they ended up doing it. And it was daily content. They were like, we're never going to be in a position where we can do that. Because my whole point was, you know, in 2023 in a live service sports game, you need to deliver daily content. It just has to be the case. And they just basically said, you know, we don't have the team to do that. We don't have the size to do that. And then that even ended up happening. So the NextMaker program evolved a lot. So, like I said, there's even recent videos I've seen the last 2 weeks where people are like, oh, you know, the program's shit, doesn't do anything. That's just not the case. Now, the biggest, again, misinformation and like, I think, misunderstanding of things. I think people think we can play God as well. Like, we can't do that. You know what I mean?
But they're still a $1 billion company. Like, you know, they're not going to just like listen to your words, not law.
Yeah. And you know, all we can do is pass on the feedback. And we do. I think the thing that's frustrating is we do actually have a lot of like successes. You know, things that people might consider bad, but would have been worse if we weren't involved. Like, it's we're not going to turn the whole game mode around ever. But we do have a pretty positive impact, and our goal is to provide feedback. That's it. Like, you know, we're on the community side. We don't get paid. There's nothing for us to gain from being in the NextMaker program.
There perks to it at all? Like, can you speak on it? If there's like, I know you were at Community Day. I know occasionally you'll get some content for free, I think, right?
No.
No?
Never got a card.
Never got a card.
Never got VC, never got NT, never got a card.
The closest you got was you got to try the account that had all the cards for Twitter.
And that's gone now as well. So I was supposed to do the Kobe one the other day, and that's been pulled. So that's not happening anymore either. So Community Day playtest are the 2 perks I've had, right? That's it. Community Day obviously came with this stuff behind me. But no, there isn't any. I mean, Community Day was great. You know, it was 5 days in New York for me. You know, it was great to meet the content creators that were there. They put me up in a really nice hotel. It was all good, but I can afford to go to New York. That's not a perk for someone like me. For someone else, maybe, you know, that might be a perk for them, but it's not for me. That's not a reason for me to do it. I can do that when I want to do it. San Francisco was different, like, because that was before. That was the playtest. So we got to test the game early. I went out a couple of months before 24 was released. And that was really cool. That was a really cool insight because that was going to 2K HQ. You know, I met Kills and Way there. We were playing like Play Now on this kind of half-built game. It was just an interesting day. Mike Wang was with us for the whole day. So it was cool. It was a really cool experience. And the perk of that was learning more about how this whole system works, how the development team works, what their actual goals are, you know, at a human level, not just through Twitter and hashtags and ats. And it did teach me a lot, you know, and it taught me a lot about the company as well. And actually, you know, this is going to sound pretty arrogant, but the reality that most people that comment on this game don't know a thing about it, how it actually works, how the company works, like what 2K is, what Visual Concepts is. People don't know. They don't know where the issues are, where they start, where they finish. And it just becomes a bit of a mess when people try to guess. So that was a really valuable experience because it taught me a lot. But outside of that, nothing.
That was funny to me. Like, you talked for like a while, but outside of that, nah, nothing. But
no.
All right, so I've been on the boat that I don't like 2K as a whole this year, but they have done a lot of good things. I like Gauntlet. I like the AD grind was a fun one. They are giving away like some decent cards for free so far this year. If you could give recommendations to them, which I'm sure you have, without breaking the NDA, what are some of those things that you think fix the game, at least to tide us over until next year? Because I know we're not getting the auction haul. I know there's certain things that aren't going to happen. But what do you think is going to be able to just at least tide us over and keep us at bay?
It's like I could do an hour on this. It's really tricky. So this is one of the things I was saying, right? Like, people don't really understand how things work, right? Like, people think 2K make a video game. That's still a thought process that the majority of the community have. 2K don't make video games. Like, do you guys know how it works? So you've got two entities in this mix, right? So 2K are like, the way I always explain it is they're like a book publisher or like a record label. That's 2K's role. They're not making the music and they're not writing the books, right? That's all done by a company called Visual Concepts. That's who Mike Wang works for. So 2K are a marketing company. They're a publishing company. They don't make a video game. Visual Concepts are the ones that do that. So what they do is obviously then have an input in like content, right? Because they're marketing the content, but they're not making the gameplay. They're not making the physical game and the base. For me, there's issues on both sides, right? I think the gameplay is first and foremost just an issue. It's inaccessible. And I understand that people like playing the way the game demands you to play, but that in itself is the biggest issue. We can't have a game that's, you know, pigeonholed into one style of play and eliminates, you know, the historical fun people have had on it. So I think the gameplay needs to just go back like that. If I could play God for a second now, that's the decision I would make. Put the gameplay back to day one, because everyone who's enjoying the game right now can still enjoy the game the way that they're enjoying it back then. But then everyone else who was enjoying the game then would continue to enjoy it. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what the reasoning is. I've been in the room with that development team, and what I do know is they just want to make the best basketball game possible. So I don't know what went wrong, but something has gone horribly, horribly wrong in that trajectory. And then on the 2K side, there's a lot of things I talk to them about regularly. I'm talking to them about even simple things that have been issued since the start of the season. I'm getting somewhere with them as well. Things like, bans for quits and all of that stuff, like, just progression stuff. But at the end of the day, it's always going to come back to daily content. Like, that's the thing that this mode needs. It needs daily content. But for me, it's gameplay first and foremost. I don't care about the content if the gameplay's fun. We said this earlier. So I don't have an influence with visual concepts. So I can't influence that, right? But I have an influence with 2K, and I can make things better for the community, or try to make things better for the community through content. But the thing I really want to improve, I don't have any influence at all.
Does 2K even have any influence, or is that all Visual Concepts call?
It's Visual Concepts, yeah. It's their game.
People have been complaining about the wrong thing forever.
That's what I'm saying. So when I fucking get a bad animation, I should be saying fuck VC, not 2K.
Did you notice the 2 letters you used?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, Josh. Any closing questions before we get out of here?
I think he pretty much covered all the questions I had, because I had a lot of questions about how the NextMaker program worked, and he pretty much got into that because I think there's always a misinterpretation of what NextMakers are. People think that, at least whenever the ban wave happened, this is what everybody assumed. NextMakers are there to basically boost 2K's ego and talk about how great the game is and try to convince their community that they're all wrong and the game's great. But I knew that was never the case, and I thought the people who did think like that were a little crazy, but I think it's nice to hear somebody actually talk about what their actual role is and everything, because I think it's just people don't understand. They don't understand what a NextMaker is. You just hear it, and you hear that they have a direct line with 2K, so people are like, oh yeah, well, they're getting paid to talk great about the game, when he's just doing this because he enjoys the game and wants to make the game a better game for the community.
Yeah, I get nothing for it. I'm gonna call it out directly. The single dumbest thing this community does is target NextMakers, because I don't realize the implications it's already had for them and how negative those outcomes have been. When we talk about people leaving, a large part of the reason they're leaving is because this is thankless, right? We don't get anything from it. So if we're doing all of this for the community, passing that feedback back, taking risks on our side, and getting nowhere with 2K, but also getting attacked by the community, what's going to be the outcome? We're just going to leave, right? We're going to stop doing it. And where does that leave us then? Where does the feedback come from? It doesn't. So yeah, when you call people shills, and when you target NextMakers, it is the single most self-defeating thing you can do as someone who plays this game and wants it to be better.
I think that this will clear up a lot for a lot of people, and that's what I wanted whenever we talked about this topic, because I want people to understand. Because I'd talked to Jazz before, I knew an idea, but I don't think enough people knew what NextMakers do, and I think that's what we should have definitely put a light on, and I'm glad we were able to talk about that, so thank you.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to make sure we did an hour of season 3 content, but I was like, I want to make sure we get into more than that, because that's this podcast, as much as you know about 2K, I feel like it was more about the inside of 2K.
Yeah, you could skip the first hour.
Yeah, honestly, the first hour is just filler.
That's just because we had to talk about it.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was good.
All right, so Jazz, any last comments?
No, thank you for having me on, man. This is a really cool thing. I mean, I've messaged you both, separately, saying this is something I watch every week now. Genuinely a fan of this. Love to see that a podcast is being done and being done well by two people that I really like and enjoy talking to. And yeah, if you ever want me on again, let me know. I'll be there. I'm earning my stripes in the podcast world today, so I'm down for another one. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man. It's been a lot of fun, and
I
keep
did
doing
have
what you're
one
doing.
thing I wanted to add before. I'm glad we get. I'm not saying I was searching for your approval. That's not what I'm saying at all. But when we transitioned from MLB to 2K, me and Josh had this conversation about, because it just so happened the week we were transitioning, you guys came out on Twitter and said you were cutting off our team.
Right.
It just happened that was the same week. And me
Yeah.
and Josh had this conversation. I was like, fuck, dude, I don't want to feel like we're stepping on anybody's toes. I don't want to feel like we're replacing the Our Team podcast. And I don't want anybody in the Our Team podcast to like feel any type of way. So I'm just happy that like you and Mojo are both, openly supported, and been all on board with it.
Yeah, look, you're the boys. We wouldn't feel like that about everyone, by the way. I'm being like really transparent. We've had situations in the past where people have, tried to, I guess, hijack what we're doing. People with bigger, I think it's just an issue with the 2K like content creation space. By the way, is that when someone has a good idea or something fresh and unique and tries to run with it, it often gets cannibalized by a bigger creator and often done way worse than it was being done, which shuts down both sides of it. Right? It just shuts down the whole concept. So we've been in that situation where we've been kind of, fighting for our lives a little bit against people trying to, I guess, steal our concept and run with it. We've never owned podcasts, you know what I mean? People can do what they want to do, but there is a code to this stuff, I feel, and I don't know if people have always like honored it, you know what I mean? But with you guys, like, what's the issue? You do what you're doing, man. Like,
sure.
It's good. I like you guys. I'm on it. Like, you're the boys. Like I said, we've been playing games together for a year now. Like, what are we going to say apart from give you our blessing? Yeah, it's good shit, man.
All right. So lastly, Josh is going to hit you with our begging segment, as we call it.
Yes. Now
You want someone now?
Yep. We need a name. We need a name.
You pick.
I don't know anyone.
Yeah, you know everyone. That's the thing. You can't fool me. I'm familiar with your game.
I'll get you Killer Josh.
There we go.
Perfect.
That'd be a good one. That'd be a
Bro,
good
you know what? I was kind of trolling a little bit, but yeah, like...
No, Josh is cool
He would
as shit.
be
I would
amazing.
love to have him up.
I want to get everybody from the Our Team podcast on at some point.
Yeah, you have to. If there's bigger creators, you let me know. Give me a name. Who do you want?
Let's see. Another name that I've wanted to try to get on here, but I think it's going to be tricky, is DBG. I don't know. I feel like he's a busy guy, but DBG is the reason I found the Our Team podcast. All right, I know we are trying to outro, but I'm just going to say it real quick. I was off social media for a few years. I only watched Ty and DBG. Those are the only content creators I ever watched. And then DBG appeared on your podcast. I think it was right around Thanksgiving last year. And then I watched that whole thing. I was like, oh, I like this. I didn't even know there was a podcast about my team. And then I started watching it weekly. And then I started talking to Mojo. And then I started talking to you. And I remember I did my own baking segment. This is before I did content myself. Last year, I was on Christmas break from work. I was like, I hit up every single one of you from the podcast. And I was like, all I want for Christmas is a follow back from every single one of you. And every one of you follow me back. I was like, all right, I got my baking segment out of the way. So DBG is the reason I found you guys. So I really want to get DBG at some point.
Yeah, okay. If I get DBG on, I just want one of you to wear a t-shirt that says Jazz is the greatest human alive.
All
And
right.
All right.
Is that a deal?
That's
All
a
right.
deal. You'll get it from both of us.
You got to wear it for the whole podcast.
I'm gonna be before we start. I'm like, hey, DBG, I'm gonna let you finish, but I got a deal to honor.
Hey.
I appreciate it, guys. Yeah, I'll do what I can.
All right,
Sound
so
good.
before we wrap up, let me get my best thumbnail picture out of you guys. There we go. All right. So as always, I appreciate everybody watching, especially if you made it all the way through. You guys are real ones. Jazz, I appreciate you coming by. Josh, as always, I appreciate you being on here, being the co-host. And you guys make sure to follow both of them on their socials. They'll be linked. My fingers aren't where they're supposed to be. Boom, boom. They'll be linked in the comments and in the description. So as always, y'all be safe. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.